Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear of that toxic cell. The bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic cell. When the bell of our ancestors where it's felt. Passing through the gates where we are taken to a higher realm. So no one wants to hear all that toxic sound. When the bell of our ancestors where is felt.
What up? What up? Okay, so I'm gonna continue on with the Earth Energy Center. Um, impact, unpack up more of it. You know what I'm saying? Just to recap, we spoken about how um we're dealing with applied sciences. You know what I'm saying? The electromagnetic forces. You know, the you know the connecting, aligning yourself to earth energy field, you know what I'm saying, and learning about that. Also receiving life force from the earth, you know what I'm saying, and that deals with agriculture, you know what I'm saying, the life force from the earth, and dealing with that grounding, seeding and grounding, and to apply that would be in agriculture, you know what I'm saying, or botany, you know what I'm saying. Then we're healing ancestral patterns and genetic blueprints, and we spoke about how the Earth magnetic field has a lot to do with migration of people, migrations of population. You know what I'm saying, and so it's the genesis of things. You know, it's um, the Kemetic deity that it's representative of is Geb, and the tone on the musical scale will be a C flat, which will be B. You know what I'm saying? But then you can go to B flat. But we'll talk about that when we get into the musical part, and that's going to be the heart energy center, and then I will go more in details with that. But the most important thing that we want to do here again is to give our youth inspiration, inspire them. That's our spirituality. If you look at the word inspiration and aspiration, you see the word spirit in there. Inspiration, inspirito, aspiration, you know what I'm saying? Also expiration, expiration, it deals with breath. And when you put your breath into something, you put your personality and your character into that. You give life to things, that's inspiration. So we want to inspire the youth, you know what I'm saying? We want to give them, the again, knowledge and a variety. What I'm gonna try to do here is give you a variety of different applied sciences that you can have these conversation with your children at an early age and see where they're going to gravitate to and inspire them to be engineers, to be, creators, you know, engineers, architectural, and scientists. I'm more leading to more engineering because I feel that's where it really is at. Because scientists could be a little tricky, you know what I'm saying? But when you deal with an engineer, a person that's engineering, you deal with mathematics, you deal also with linguistics. Is engineering and linguistics where you see linguists, learning about a certain language and engineering it to a point where it becomes a classical language. You know what I'm saying? And that's another study that we can do. And that's a study. And shout out to a lot of my sisters and brothers out there who's doing the Sabiic language, because remember, we this is the reset of civilization, reset of the planet, reset, economical reset, currency, everything. So our our story is being reset. It happens every 24,000 years. What they talk about, that cycle is being reset. So this is the the new being in today. And so we're revolving back to an original state, but a renewed state. You know what I'm saying? So Sabiic, the Misbatia, Misbatia is the Sabiic Lahaj language that is being you know replacing a lot of languages. We're learning this. It's an African language. At the same time, not only it extends Africa, it goes to Southern Arabia, it goes to Yemen, Southern Arabia, even to Iraq, Iran. It goes to the whole area, encompassing all of that. And we're going to speak about that at when we deal with the communication, the throat energy center, and how. But right now, with the Earth Energy Center, the Taha Asab Quabat Energy Center, you know what I'm saying, in Sabiic, in Mispati Al Hajj. And that is the center, again, that we use to align ourselves with Earth, Gab, Earth, Taha, Taha. You know, we align ourselves. And in learning that, applied sciences, you deal with geomagnetism, you know what I'm saying, and how engineer use it. So I'm going to share my screen and bring up some content on that. Give me 1 second. Um, I got to clear a lot of things on my computer because I've been doing a lot of study with the United Nations. Again, you know what I'm saying? Because it deals with human rights and humanitarian things like that. And I'm interested in that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing this, you know, at the behest of our master teacher. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, now this is the thing that I want to also reiterate about the speculative and operative. So there's a speculative narrative that talks about the energy centers, right? They call them chakras, right? And people are into the chakras and this and this and that. You know, we deal with the sakam, right? The energy, the azub kwabat energy centers, and it's 9 of them because I lean more towards the Kemetic science and 9 wu sabat. Those 9 energy centers, those azub kwabat, and I'm gonna keep saying that, because we got to get used to the language in a way, lahaj. And so in dealing with it, we got these electromagnetic forces. Remember, comes from the sun. It's electromagnetic from the stars. The stars and the sun. That's natural nature. When you deal with natural nature, you're dealing the multiple of suns. The multiple of stars are multiple of suns. The sun is a star is the sun. And that funnels into earth. That funnels into human bodies. It forms the auric egg in us, right? It also feeds earth, and it deals a lot with earth magnetic field. Remember, electromagnetic forces, and the earth funnels out and absorbs the magnetism, and that's what you find on the earth. And that's where human beings had always studied it, knew this, and studied it because they were so well connected with natural nature and knowing that. And I'm going to show you some glyphs, and we're going to go into the Kemetic glyphs and stuff like that. We're going to the Kemetic glyph. I'm searching some glyphs of Sabiic glyphs on this topics. You know what I'm saying? So just give me time for that. But this spectrum, energy forces, spectrum, they harness different area effects, natural nature, and all areas in our life. You know, uh, in all areas in our life. So when it deals with agriculture, right, and it deals with population migrating, it deals with because when you migrate, right, they have like an inner compass, and I'm going to bring it up right now about the compass and how the magnetic field changes from time in time, you know, so that is to be considered also. So in applied sciences, in studying this, there are certain devices that you may use, and we're going to bring those up, ancient devices and also modern day devices that they use today. That's a study, that's applied sciences. So you have this narrative, speculative, people study about the chakras and all that, but then how do you operate that? How do you use that to, you know, to connect that to actual applied sciences around you? And that's what we're having this. I'm presenting this, and we're having this conversation about applied sciences and certain sciences like horticulture and stuff like that. We deal with agriculture, what I'm saying, that are important because it sustains us, what I'm saying. And then also animals move and fishes, and they use the magnetic field to sort of they navigate them. And remember, this Earth Energy Center is reciprocal to the star energy center. Remember, reciprocal, you know what I'm saying? And so when this happens, you know what I'm saying, the connection, you make the connection. The more you ground to earth, you also have to look at the constellations and the star energy. You know what I'm saying? That star energy. And that's been an ancient practice, and that's what leads, again, population to migrate. That's what leads into agriculture and many other applied sciences, So let me share my screen. And as I'm reading on here, I am also studying. So I thank you very much for having the patience and to help me embark in the study when we deal with this applied sciences. Okay, applied science. Let me skip a little bit. Let me see. We deal with magnets. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, well, understanding that magnetic field, when speaking about magnetic field, you're also thinking about electrical fields because the main magnetic field originates from electrical currents flowing in Earth iron rich core. And I'm reading on the second paragraph here. The process which of these currents are generated is so called dynamo, a concept that will be discussed in more details later. We're going to talk about dynamo and the dynamics. That's where they get the name dynamics. And we're going to line it up with the 19 courses dynamic of existence. You know what I'm saying? So so the connection between electric currents and magnetism was not recognized until much later. They give the credit to Faraday, Michael Faraday, in 1791, but that's only because they rediscovered it. But already there were ancient scientists that knew this and practiced these applied sciences. Evidence? Look at the pyramids. Look at the pyramids. Look where the pyramids are lying. Look at the pyramids throughout the whole globes in the different continents in the ley lines. Some of it has shift, of course, through time because the plates are tectonic plates. But then you still see the system, right? And when they go into these pyramids, especially Giza, and they go in there and they see that there's an electromagnetic force that's surrounding it, and they see it's been depleted. Of course, it's been depleted because the area is no longer sustainable for life how it used to be. But at one time, it was a flourishing garden, and those pyramids sit at a flourishing garden and water, and there was a lot of electricity and a supply of electricity. Um, so even today is difficult whether you know whether magnetic field arises from electrical current or from magnetization, as I learned a while serving at NASA. Now, this author here served the NASA Lunar Planetary Science Review panel from 1978 to 1980. So this is a scientist. What I'm going to do now, we can gain more insight into magnetic field by considering different fields. That of gravity. Gravity is also, when you study gravitational pull, gravity, and levity, you see people forget about gravity also have a reciprocal, which is levity. And when you study these forces and fields, you're also studying about how magnetic field, electromagnetic currents. So, like magnetic forces, the gravitational forces acts at a distance. Okay. But what is it that I wanted to go here? So I'm going through this and studying at the same time. Um, the geocentric axial dipole field is characterized by the field lines entering Earth at a north pole and existing at the south pole. I'm here at the top. Let me see if I can make this larger for you. Okay, the field is horizontal at the equator. The original figure from the United States Geological Survey was redrawn by Beth Tooley. Again, just like our body funnels in this electromagnetic current, also Earth takes in this electromagnetic current, and it funnels it, and at the poles, what I'm saying? That's forms the magnetic field, what I'm saying? So this dipole, which can be visualized as a bar magnet, is at Earth's center and aligns along Earth's rotation axis. Now, the reason why I'm going through this because I'm just reading and going through this. I read this before, but I'm just going through it because you know we're discussing how aligning with our magnetic field, Earth magnetic field, and how do we align with it. And later on at another podcast, we'll do it musically. How we can align with it musically, and that deals a lot with again a certain instrumentation and rhythm. Um, so this is applied science. This is telling you consider a magnet suspended from a string. It can be compassed as if it was constrained to rotate only in a horizontal plane. Then it will point to the North Pole. However, if we allow the suspended magnet to rotate freely, its north end will dip downward into the northern hemisphere, upward to the southern hemisphere. So these are experiments that have been done. You know what I'm saying? um, when electrical current flows in a wire, it produces a magnetic field that curls around the wire, the original figure, okay? Electrical currents. And then the placebo effect. What it says about a pretty weak magnet, isn't it? Are you sure you're not? Okay, 1 second. So I'm just going into this book here and let you know the information. Um, very information when you speak with people and you deal with science and you study it, applied sciences. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is a um a field of study. Electrons are not the only particle that have a spin associated with magnetic field. Proton and neutron also do. So there's a spin that's going around because of this electromagnetic field, this magnetic field, and that's where you get the spin. If anybody ever worked with a magnet, you can see how you can spin an object in the magnet when you got a couple of magnets and you can spin it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. Also with sound. Sound has a magnetic field. Magnets attract sound. So when you look at a speaker, it has a magnet in it. Also, yet sound and visual, it deals a lot with magnetic fields. You know what I'm saying? So also Earth also has this magnetic field that causes spins and causes nature to spin and spiral. You know what I'm saying? So you look at a tree, you see the spiral inside of you. You cut a tree, the spiral. So it all has to do with magnetic field. And this is getting to know Earth magnetic field and knowing how it impacts everything around you. Everything around you. See, once you become conscious and conscientious of this, you get to understand how this Earth magnetic field works and how migration works and agriculture and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You get to see how you get to have the respect for a dynamo in existence. Earth magnetic field, you get to have that respect for that. You know what I'm saying? And understand that this is living because it's growing. You know what I'm saying? It's doing what it needs to do. Um, okay. Yeah. So there's been a discussion about Earth, whether it have a large magnet, and it does. It does because our ancient scientists have shown that. Let me show you some graphs in a few minutes. So again, you see the fields, how it impacts. Oh, sorry. Um, Now look how the vertical component of the Mundipole field for the International Geomagnetic Reference Field for the year 2000. Contours of the vertical component of the field are labeled in units. Look at this. See, this is a study. Oh, what happened? Oh man. What? No, 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 no. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Ah, sorry about that. I kind of like hit the wrong freaking button. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second. Share my screen again, and going to see. Stop sharing. Let me. Oh boy, 1 second. I'm going to share my screen once again and show you what's going on here. I'm having a moment over here. I'm here. I'm trying to enlarge it. Here we go. If you can see that, enlarge it a little more. See, so when you study applied sciences and you study Earth magnetic field, right? Not speculative, operative, and you study how this magnetic field, how it impacts, right? How it navigates, impacts, and forms these different fields on Earth. So they already have figured it out, you know. And this is from the International Geomagnetic Reference Field for the year 2000. This is always changing. Earth magnetic field changes, constantly changing. And you see, engineers know this. You know what I'm saying? Engineers knows this. You know, when it comes to building or to engineer specific devices or take into consideration where populations are moving because they see these fields and how that affects growth, you know, agriculture affects growth, botany, it affects all this. And this is the study, you know, and this is a science, you know what I'm saying, when you deal with this earth magnetic field, which is the earth energy center, you know. So in becoming grounded and seeding and grounding, this is good. This is a very far from trivial, important science to know. You know what I'm saying? Important science, you know, important engineering science to know. And so, you know, if you know, inspire these children to learn these things so that they can learn about how magnetic field, how they impact life on this earth. Let me see what else we got. That's enough of that. Reversal. Now this goes into rock formation. Now the geographical history of Earth magnetic field is written in rocks, as explained in the chapter. Deciphering this record is not easy. So you have scientists out there that go and they look at the magnetation of rocks and how those magnetic fields, you know, and they go out there and dealing with mining, and it has given birth to some of the major geological controversies of the past century. However, it was not clear at the beginning. Okay, right. You're not going to go into that. Um, Great book when it comes to dealing with this applied science. You know, okay. Let me end that there. Let me just show you something else. Um, hmm, okay. So again, speculative. They're going to talk about chakra and the earth magnetic field, but apply sciences. More and more and more, like I said, we have to inspire the youth, inspire the next generation to get into applied sciences. Stop talking about, I mean, it's okay if you want to inspire them at the first, it's going to be speculative, but then to actually apply it, to see whether that that individual, that person, that youth is would gravitate towards that. You know what I'm saying? Gravitate towards it. So you can have the conversation, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you can say, well, you know, what applied sciences do we know that deal with this particular energy center? You know what I'm saying? What applied sciences? So we looked at geomagnetism. We talk the engineering. You know, we saw how it impacts. Now, let me show you something here. Man, I having a moment. um, oh, let me show you something else here. Let me look up something else here. Give me 1 second. Like I said, you know, I'm studying now, and I appreciate for everyone who's coming in and actually experiencing these studies that I do. You know, I've read a lot of this before, but there's a lot of more. That's Earth magnetic field. There was another one that I had. Um, I'm looking for it now. I got so many books on here. Even script is pretty good. You go in there and you read books and you can grab books and read it. And I can always you know, if you have a time to actually, you know, study with me, you know, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? I read. I got time in my hand. What can I say? But I always enjoy learning about different things because, like I said, you know, it's man, what's going on here? It's about again inspiring the youth when you can have conversations like this, and then you can inspire the youth. Um, this is another one, another book. Let me share my screen. Now, this is a really good book. When I read it, this is really, really, really good. This one is called The Plate Tectonics and its Crustal Evolution. You know what I'm saying? This one here, yeah, geosciences. This is, again, this is the second edition, New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology in Socorro, New Mexico. Okay? Very good book because this one here goes into methods, definitions, and what I love about it is talking about seismic method, getting to know again earth magnetic field and getting to know how it affects populations and stuff. And the most interesting thing that I found in this book, to be honest with you, is I'm bringing it up. Origin of the Earth and Moon system, not that, but let me see what is this. No, this is the origin of the moon. Look at this. But we're not going to go into that because we're dealing with Earth. We're dealing with Earth. To the core, the mantle. We're dealing with the Earth. So this is another applied sciences. When you go to mining and technology, and you're studying this, this is great. I'm telling you. Look at over here the distribution of upper metal Western North America. They're studying and they're watching how Earth is again being impacted by these electromagnetic forces. This is aligning yourself to Earth magnetic forces, is knowing this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people are speculative. They'll talk about it and with this crystal and this and share. There are crystals that represent the Earth magnetic field. I think it's the BDC. I have it here somewhere. I'll look it for you. But when you deal with, again, applied sciences, and you deal with the crust, and you study, you're getting to know what Earth is. You know what I'm saying? This is knowledge. This is how our ancestors, and I'm gonna show it to you, prove it to you. This is what the knowledge that our ancestors had. That's what they were able to build pyramids and were able to build, connect, was able to move to certain civilization to safe places and on and on and on. Oh man, I'm looking for it. What page is it on? Man, excuse me one second. I mean, I did I do have the let me see what is this? I do have this is in Africa. Okay. I do have what they call the screenshots of what I'm going to be talking about. But I just wanted to go straight into this book. This is a great book, I'm telling you. If you like technology, if you like science and technology, and if, to connect, again, I'm not a science. I don't, I'm just speaking about these applied sciences, but I'm not an actual science. I don't do these, I'm not an engineer in this type of field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. But but like I said, to inspire the youth and to know that, hey, listen, forget about all that speculative stuff. Deal with the applied sciences because that's how you really connect with these energy centers. You know what I'm saying? That's how you really connect. So you want to connect with Earth, you got to know what Earth is. You have to recognize what Geb is. You want to connect in Kemetic science with Geb and you want to honor that, you got to know what it is. You got to know electromagnetic, the magnetic, Earth magnetic forces. You know what I'm saying? Pan-African belt hugger. Man, this one goes, I'm telling you, this goes in deep, deep, deep. Because sea floor spreading. You know what I'm saying? Rock magnetism and the geomagnetic time scale. And it talks about, if I talk about the Alduvia events, the, different events that man also, when they talk about anthropology, well, Earth also went through an origination, a de-origination, evolutionary, and a re-revolutionary stage at this point right now. So when you get to know this in natural nature, it's important that you get to know what's happening in your environment, your echo and habitat, and also Earth in general. Um, Very important. Plate characteristics talks about the plate characteristic. It's coming up. It's coming up. I think it's pay. Where is it? Uh, Maybe I should just bring up the screenshot. Um, Maybe at another time, because then I'm gonna have to look through my notes. You know what I'm saying? I didn't plan on this. Magna Association. Keeps doing that. I'm looking for the supercontinent. That's what I'm looking for. Supercontinent. But this is interesting. I mean, oceanic magmas. Um, this goes to oceanography, geographical oceanography, plate tectonic and continental drift. We're getting close. The expanding Earth hypothesis. Okay. An alternate explanation of some of the evidence of continental drift is that the Earth has expanded with new surface area being created at oceanic ridges. This hypothesis generally presumed that the area of the continents has remained about the constant and that the ocean basin have grown as the Earth expands. An expanding Earth and the sea floor spreading are not mutually exclusive processes, and the overwhelming evidence for seafloor spreading continental drift seems to necessitate that. If the Earth expanded, these processes have gone on concurrent. Okay. Evidence for this expanding Earth are either ambiguous or are based on tenuous or ad hoc assumptions. Now we're getting close. We are getting close. Now look at this. Because I had a discussion with certain brothers, and they don't believe in this. Oh, the continents wasn't together. Nah, man, because they don't, they just don't. Like I said, you're gonna have conversations, man. You got to bring in facts. You got to bring in sources and facts, science and technology. You got to bring in the technology and the science if you're gonna have these type of conversation now. You know, um, and look, you know, a lot of this, I'm telling you, our master teacher, Patna Bayananan, had always leaned to these applied sciences and had this. Um, this is crazy, man. Let me see. Yep. We're looking at supercontinent. I'm looking for it. Where is it? Did I pass it? No, I don't think I did pass it. But you've seen it. Um, in this book here, it goes into a lot of information here. You know what I'm saying? How you know, volcanoes, earthquakes, goes into a lot of. I think I passed it. I don't know where it is at. Oh my. I don't know where it's at. But you see, we're looking at the late Jurassic continental reconstruction, personal communication. We're looking at the late Cretaceous continental reconstruction. So the Earth been through a lot of different forms, many different forms, many different forms. Let me see. And when you look at this, and you look at what I'm trying to bring up is Pangea, also Ganawa, yeah, and this supercontinental. What the hell is it? Man, I Himalayas. Oh man. Well, I kind of like, I don't know. I thought It's in here somewhere, you know, but I just can't find it. I'm sorry for that. But you get the picture. I mean, it's in this book somewhere, and you just have to just go through this book. It's a very great book to get. I'm telling you, script, $10 a month, but it has so many different books. And again, this is good. So when you can have a conversation with, the young ones, and it's interesting. I mean, don't leave it up to the schools, because the school's not going to even give them all this. They have to go to a special schools, and you got to have the right type of professors and teachers to really, really capture their mind and lean them and says, man, this is applied sciences. When you engineer and you know, and then you construct all their curriculum around that, with a certain mathematics and certain geometry and certain things like that from an early age. From an early age. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was yeah. Uh, I'm gonna have to bring it up some other way. But it's in there. Sorry about that, y'all. Rico Monaco. Hey, what's up, my puppy? What's up? What's up? So again, yes, you know what I'm saying? How important this is. You know, you got people the main thing about this conversation that I'm having with you here is that you got a lot of people that talk the speculative talk, even in music. And Enrico Monaco here, a great guitarist, is here, and he'll tell you people talk about music and tones and frequencies, but they're not musicians. They don't understand. You know what I'm saying? And even when you deal with music too, there's certain when you deal with the to inspire people, there's certain tones and frequencies that you can use in order to get to inspire people. And now that Rico's here, and he's very, very fond of Santana. If you have conversation with Santana, he's going to speak about applied sciences. He knows about this stuff because he deals with frequencies. He deals with frequencies, vibrations, and frequencies and tones, and how it inspires people and how the correct tones that we need. So, but we're not going to speak about that now because that's dealing with another type of energy center. But in terms of Earth, knowing around you, population, Earth, you know what I'm saying? Knowing how that impacts, the migration of people. And this is, again, connecting with Earth magnetic field and using that in applied science, applied sciences. So we got to get away from all that talk about, oh, with the crystals and I'm Earth magnetic field and I'm connecting to Earth and I'm grounding myself by walking barefooted in the grass. That's so speculative, to be honest. So speculative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I love to walk. Yes, there's people say when you walk barefoot in the grass, the electromagnetic field. Yeah, you can do that. I like walking in the sand in the beach, because it deals a lot with, relaxations, you know what I'm saying, and that type, right? But now, how do you apply it to a science? You know what I'm saying? That you're able to use these sciences again when these engineers are watching. These are the watchers, the Nataros. They're watching to see how this impacting the population. You know, they're looking into the future. Says, "Oh, wait a minute, we cannot build in this area because this area, they're already knowing that this area is conducive or is more liable to to deplete. The magnetic field is being depleted there. So people are not going to gravitate there. Because remember, population migration is this Earth magnetic field affects us in humanity, just like the animals. They had a big problem with, I believe, the sharks. Sharks follow this magnetic field. That's how they move. They migrate, they move. But when it was tilted, when I think something happened that the magnetic field has changed, so you started having sharks appearing in certain areas where they were known not to appear because the field changed. Also, birds migrate like that. You know what I'm saying? So does humanity. And so this reset of Earth It's happening right now. This reset. Earth is resetting itself. So you have populations that are not going to be any more populated. Not humanity is not going to be populating a certain area anymore. One, because the electromagnetic field is depleting there. You know what I'm saying? That's what this science is showing us. And there's people watching that. They're doing this, they have the technology and the science to watch. You know what I'm saying? And to make sure that populations don't wind up in areas that become extinct. You know what I'm saying? Again, many, so this is a reset of civilization. So a lot of applied science. So in the future, we want to protect our legacy. In our future, like I said, inspire our children to study these applied sciences, because that's these applied science is our ancient way, our ancient customs. You know what I'm saying? It's the way we and acknowledgement Rico, Nubi Carre, William Rogers, man, everybody, peace, peace to you. So again, I watch that. I've learned my lessons. You know what I'm saying? You can walk around speculating things, but you don't have you don't have knowledge of the applied sciences. And I'm hoping that with this here, we're more conscientious of that. When we speak about things, you know what I'm saying, that we able to connect that to applied sciences. Because there's scientists, technology, engineers doing the work out there and dealing with this at a reality level. This is divine reality. Divine reality. This is a reality. Things are happening around us. So again, the educating of the youth to seek out. Who's calling me? I gotta call him back later. Again, the inspiring the youth again to want to study in these fields, of not learn about it. Learn about these fields. So when you do have the conversation, it's not all speculative, apply sciences. And you're up on that. You know what I'm saying? And you're up on that. So, I've been here 48 minutes already. So yeah, that's the conversation that we're having. Now let me show you something here. Share my screen again. About the ancient Kemetic. Remember, and I'm only going to the ancient Cometians and now Raleigh, but you can go into Galileo, you can go into Italy, you can go into Europe, you can go into Asia, China, and there are scientists and technology and sciences in many different these continents. I'm just taking it back to the ancient science, okay? And so, let me show you this. Look at this. So you see, again, dowsing, right? If you can read the glyphs, right? And you see this sign here for the deity in Teru, you know what I'm saying? You see how the spirit, right, of the scribe, the spirit and the sun. But look at this here. You see on top of her head, you got what? A star, a sun, the energy funnel, and they're able to douse, right? To douse, able, because they align with this earth magnetic field. Align with it. You know what I'm saying? Deals with earth. I'm looking for the sign for earth, but I don't see it here. You know? Hold on a second. Let me find another one. This is Seshat. Again, here you go. Again, using the staff, magnetic fields, magnets, the staff, right? I wish I can see this clearly so I can read up a lot of that, but as you can see, again, this electromagnetic field. But you see Haru, right? The essential Haru, right? It has a lot to do with aligning Sashek, right? Aligning and the electromagnetic forces and being again with the staff, again being earthman being earth being aligned with earth magnetic field and dowsing and knowing how, you know, agriculture, because you're going to see also Sashek dealing with agriculture, and you see the ancient Kemetic dealing with agriculture, and these are on the Nile Valley walls. Man, they're arguing out there. Look at this. Oh my god. I hope you can't hear that, really. People cursing. Here again, you see the emblem um again, and this is a magnetic field. You know, remember electromagnetic spectrum and the forces coming in. You know what I'm saying? So uh, this is magnet, the magnet, Luxor. Again, see, again has to do with measuring the Earth magnetic field, knowing about Earth magnetic field. This symbol here deals also a lot with agriculture. You know what I'm saying? And magnet, the Ankh. You know what I'm saying? See this? Agriculture, you know, and look, that had to know about magnetic fields at that time, knowing about also how the Nile risen up in certain times and season, the Nile raised up so that agriculture, and knowing how to measure, and again, all has to do with electromagnetic forces that funnel down, and this is how they use. You know what I'm saying? See, here's another one. You know that I found. Again, look at the devices she has with her. This means place. You deal with place, terminative place, right? Well, knowing about agriculture, you know what I'm saying? Knowing how, again, aligning with Earth magnetic field when you deal with it. I should have brought a Gab to show you some of those symbols, but then I wanted to keep it because it's crazy when you know. Okay. Now, this symbol here, the increased intensity of the current, deals with elect current and the magnetic field. This is a science, ancient magnetic science. And you see this throughout Kemet. Okay. You see this? See this throughout Kemet. This is the healing frequency of the Earth magnetic field. But again, this is speculative. When you deal with operative, then you take this 7.83 hertz, you put into a device, and you see how that pans up to the electromagnetic field. You can actually have a device that measures the magnetic field of the area. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that they had the devices to measure the magnetic field, and that's what Sashek was doing, measuring the magnetic field in that particular area. You know what I'm saying? In the Nile Valley. You know what I'm saying? And coming up with certain figures, you know what I'm saying? And knowing how to use technology, sonar technology, cymatic technology, sonar to create certain, you know, feats that we will consider magical feats. You know what I'm saying? But it's not magical in the sense that it's not known. It's a science now that we have now and we know. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, so we're getting the gist of it. You know what I'm saying? So again, applied sciences has And the reason why I show that this shit, it's been done since ancient time. And you can go into Italy, you can go into China, you can go all, and this is what's happening today with certain engineers and sciences. So it's an actual applied science, even with physics and applied science. So, you know what I'm saying? Inspire, inspire the youth, you know, to study these science. Even if you're in music, you have to look at all of these centers, energy centers, to see how that also can inspire your musical expressions, your musical expression. I love what is it? That sounds like killer. The Secret Life of Plant by Stevie Wonder, and I listened to those frequencies that he very ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying? And he applied a lot again, apply these different energy centers and apply it to his music, so he was able to create certain sounds. You know what I'm saying? Also, by using those different hertz and frequencies from one, including earth magnetic field and the hertz of that. You know what I'm saying? Also, when the mini moog, the physics, because when you deal with synthesizers, that was all done with physicists. You know what I'm saying? And bending the frequencies of notes and sound, and bending it and creating these notes and sound, because they mimic, or they follow the pattern of natural sound. And then they were able to again apply science to it, apply certain sciences of technology to the music and to the sound, and develop certain instrumentation. That's another field. You know what I'm saying? So again, um, we're getting away from this speculative stuff. You know what I'm saying? Speculative stuff. There's doctrine and dogma, but they don't connect to the source, and they don't use science. Science. And we're gonna keep going up. So I'm gonna talk about a lot of more, when it deals with the science of speech, auditory and speech and stuff like that, and a lot of narratives. You know what I'm saying? We're getting away from that. We're now taking up like a scientist. We're now seeing things for what it really is. Facts. Hakwak. Hakwaka. Hakwakat. Facts. In Mispati Lahaj. Hakwakat. Facts. And so it's very interesting. Very interesting. So listen, I'm almost at my hour mark. I try to keep everything 60-minute hour mark. It is 3 o'clock, so I'm gonna chant a little. You know what I'm saying? Here live. I'm just gonna say my affirmation. We usually say it at 3, 6, and 9. I don't usually do it at 6. I just do 3 and 9. That's it for me. I really actually like to stick to 9, if anything. But since it's 3 o'clock and I like to practice, you know what I'm saying? Learning my language. And bring it up. Actually, let me share the screen so you can see what I'm doing. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. Uh, So yeah, folks. I mean, there's so much more we can impact. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do what I can there with that. And again, aligning with Earth magnetic field. And then maybe tomorrow we'll talk about more on the genetic side and ancestral side, which is very important, because that's another way of connecting with Earth magnetic field. Hmm. That's another way of connecting with Earth magnetic field, when you deal with genetic blueprints and ancestral patterns, and you get to see, because we already spoke of the migrations and stuff and genetic. That's another field, another applied science, very important. Okay, so pa tak yud, put a little echo to this reverb. Pa tak yud, anukai jawif pa ashuk impa paut, wakale ashuk kawun jawif niya, anukai kwasaum impa paut, wo papa ot kawun kwasa imniya. Anukai wahu ameh papaut. Wupapaut kabun wahu ameh niya. Nukut. Sorry. What went wrong here? Huh. What happened here? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, I see. Anuki wahua ame papa ut. Wu papa ut kabun wahua ame niya. Nakukudor na jo ame kwasa umim papa ut. Wu habub ame mukhlasum. Nakuk kador kawun kalif pafif. Nakuk dayur jawif papa ut. Ame wasa ame dayarni kamu lake bakoi jawif papa ut. Anukai jabit bai nafashni papa ut kamu anukai papa ut kudur nakuk kudur papa ut amul nakuk amul. And being that we're looking into genetic blueprint ancestral patterns, I'm gonna let me see something. See, sorry, I don't know why it's doing that, but let's bring it down to here. Okay, and this is the lahehum manahnun for them from us. And I just want to say this: we don't worship ancestors. We don't worship them. We don't give offerings to ancestors or anything like that. We acknowledge them. We have reverence for our ancestors, just like you have reverence for your mom's passed away or your grandpa. You have reverence for them. Okay? Lahe hum maneh nun amti hum athir karir hum amti hum athir karir hum amti hum athir karir nun amti hum athir jawif niya amti hum atir ni yawuan kay hum yay ashuk yay ashmuh jayahnu yay nataru afuknu anu natir muhrarukum yay nataru afuknu yay nataru anu, atum, amun. And we'll leave it at that. Okay? So I thank everybody. Well, all in blessings, and I'm going to I'm here sitting in my lotus position on my chair. So again, every time I chant like that, my eyes tears. That's a good sign, right? So, in recapping back just a little bit before I end this stream, that again, getting away from the speculative narrative. Too many people talking but not doing. They're not doing what's necessary. They're not showing by example to the youth. That's the reason why I stopped rocking with certain people and stop rocking with certain podcasts, because it's a lot of talk. Sometimes I get into it and I'm like, but there's nothing that they're doing to show an example for the youth. The youth is watching. The youth wants that guidance. Hadayan. Hadayun. They want that guidance. And again, we're not giving it to them because we're so busy with the speculative. We want to sound so heavy. I'm a heavy cat. I want to sound so heavy. You know what I'm saying? Check it out. My rap, my narrative. Show me by example. See, if I talk to you about tones and frequency, I can show you through playing my instrument. I play vibes, I play piano, I play vibes, I play percussion, and I tune my drums to certain frequencies. That's applied sciences, musicality. And then to take it even further, I know the studio. I know Pro Tools. I know Pro Tools. I'm a mason. I'm an operative mason. Masonry, I learned speculative, but I'm an operative mason. I know cement. I can refinish cement. I'm a carpenter. At the same time, I can refinish cement. Everybody knows that I worked construction for a long time. Even when I went to the labor pool, I was a skilled worker. So I was able to smooth out things with a jackhammer and then come in while the bricklayers come, and I was able to smooth the wall with the right type of paper and, with the right type of tools. I was able to use the balance beam. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to read plans because I study AutoCAD and MicroStation. I like MicroStation because it's much easier. AutoCAD deals with a lot of layers of planning, but you had to learn both. And so I've studied that. So I've worked in constructions, opened up a plan, and knew the dimensions that I had to use and use my measure, and knew exactly where to put my beams at. And knew how to, when you deal with carpentry, I knew exactly what to do because it's in the plan that the engineer and the architecture had before. That's operative. That's using mathematics. That's operative. In constructing a studio, I know Pro Tools, and right now I use GarageBand a lot. So I know Pro Tools and Logic. But I'd use GarageBand because it's easier for me because I do things at a very small level. But I know about sound, so I'm able to master on my own, right? I'm able to record things. And you've heard some of my recordings. It's not mastered that well, but I'm able to mix things down. I understand the concept of that. That's applied sciences. I know many musicians that do that. But then you have people that talk about tones and frequencies like it's speculative. And they're giving you all this math. I had this one cat with mathematics and number 48, this mathematics, that. But are you an engineer? What a waste of talent. How do you apply it? Are you an engineer? What devices can you make? What can you do with this? Because our ancestors definitely built pyramids. And you go to the Vatican City or you go wherever, you see them building buildings, edifices and buildings and stuff. This is applied science. There's too much speculative going on. Too much. That, and we do, and I'm speaking to Muspatia, Musabian, Musar family, right? We have our doctrine because those other doctrine had to be replaced with another doctrine. You know what I'm saying? In order to kill that spell. But now, how did we apply it? Because Padnabayanan applied it. He constantly applied these sciences. He applied it. So again, you get stuck in doctrine, and then the study. Language study. If you're going to study language, that's cool. And you're going to learn your language. I'm learning my language now. Shout out to my brother, Amenuma. And shout out to Sia. And shout out to these Sabian brothers and sisters out there, sisters and brothers out there that are helping, that are doing this work, right? But then there comes in applied science, linguistics. You see? Linguistics. I'm able to apply those language to apply to an actual linguistic skill. Because I study Arabic Fusa. So I study these tones, right? Of knowing the ah, the and ah, the e, ah, the ga, and the ga. You know what I'm saying? Able to study this in linguistics, apply this tone so when you're speaking in speech and building on that, building on it is very important. You know what I'm saying? So again, let's stop the speculative stuff. You know? For those learning the language, good. Learn the language, and then when it gets to a point when you're learning the language, now start the phonetics of it, not the phonetic, the tonality of it. I gotta call you back. Hold on 1 second. Ah, it's a scammer. So it's very, very important. I spend sometime on my keyboard with the actual Mispati Lahad, with the harafat, what they call the letters. So I'm able to, as I say, shuk, shuk. You see, those diphthongs, getting to know, that's applied science, a linguistics. When you get to know diphthongs and you get to know how it works, then you're able to pick up other languages and you're able to see how diphthong works. And the proper pronunciation, articulations of the glyphs. You know what I'm saying? Very important. You can't specify. You can't speculative all the time and not apply it to something. It's difficult. That's a shout out to my brothers and sisters out there and I love what the brother Aminuma does, because he actually goes out to the street and he'll point things out and give it to you in a Sabiic term. Beautiful. I'm starting to do that now. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning, And I text him, hey, how do you say this? Like, that's how you see here. Ta ha ha, right? Ta ha azuk kwabat, Earth Energy Center. That's a Mispatia. With the help of Aminuma and Sia, and the sister Sia. That's where I'm getting it from. I learned drum. I knew it from the Arabic fusa, duf drum. And then she said dufuf. Because also when you study and you apply and you study the historicity of, or you study language, the migration of language, and you get to see, I have peer-reviewed PDF files of the University of Saudi Arabia, how they're using, in order to more understand the Arabic Fusa, understand their language, they're going back to the Mispatia, the in Yemen, in the southern Saudi. And they're studying the Sabiic language. Studying the Sabiic language. And seeing the connection. And then we connect that all into the Nile Valley. And Seba is Saba. Shaba is Sheba. Shaba, Saba. That was talking to a brother with a Shabaka. Shabaka stone is Shabaka, right? Saba, spirit. And then I said, do you know how to use that stone? The clue is Shaba, Saba, Saba, Sabiic. And you look at that, I'm not gonna reveal it here. But the thing is, it has a lot to do with glyphs. Glyphs. Those glyphs has a lot to do. That's the clue. The stones, you can arrange it a certain way that you can actually create glyphs. That's the Shabaka stone. And of course, in order to hide that narrative, in order to hide that knowledge of how they were able to use the stone, they had to put it in priestly, or what they call sacred glyphs. Because what I showed you are sacred glyphs. When I spoke about the Earth Energy Center, the Tahaha Azukwabat, when I showed that to you in Sashak, and I showed that to you and the doubt, right? And you see those glyphs, that was to protect that. But I'm able to decipher that, and I'm able to expound on that. Because that's how our ancestors had to protect certain knowledge. See, I'm only revealing certain things here to you, but it goes deeper than that. I'm giving you standard university narratives, books and stuff like that. But if you go to the ancient, once we get into the applied science of how the ancient did it, we'll be building pyramids. That's what Panabai Yanan said, that if he was to apply the way our ancestors really did it, those pyramids would have not been in wood. It would have been in stone. They definitely would have rained down earlier on the Nuwapians. They seen those pyramids, it was on wood. And they said, well, why you did it in wood? That's because if he did it on stone and used certain technology, like cymatic and technology, just like that little man that did it in Coral Castle. He did it with Coral Castle. Use that technology of learning about Earth magnetic field. Maybe in another day when we talk about it, because we're going to spend a couple of days on this field, we're going to speak about them. About that man. I can't even pronounce his name. It's a little short guy, Lademni, something like that. A German guy in Coral Castle. They moved it, and they heard tones and frequencies, and he was able to move this. Imagine we was to do that. Man, they rain on us. These antisocial, because they're afraid that if you would have this technology, right, you're able to build things, you have this technology in the wrong hands, can be used to destroy things, because it's a reciprocal construction and destruction. Just like you have the technology to construct, the technology to destruct. That's why a lot of these practices and these science has to be hidden. But we have to, that's why the 19 courses are very important, because we have to, again, our youth need to learn about these characteristics and stay away and learning more to lower the amount of antisocial characteristics, lower that amount so that they can grow. We can live a harmony and peace. You know? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And okay, again, wadu, wadu.